Have you ever wondered what it feels like to carry the stories of 7 decades? Imagine that. A lifetime filled with love, heartache, quiet victories, and lessons that no book could fully explain. Then one day, after 70, something shifts. The world doesn't stop, but it quiets. The phone rings less, the visits grow fewer, and suddenly you find yourself choosing silence over small talk and solitude over social circles. Why does this happen? Is it just tiredness? Or is there something deeper calling us inward? In this video, we're going to explore 5 powerful reasons why, after 70, many people stop visiting others. And by the end, you might realize it's not about loneliness. It's about peace. 1. Time begins to feel sacred. When you were young, time felt like an endless road. There was always tomorrow, but now after 70, you feel its weight. You've lived through births and funerals, holidays and hospital rooms. You've seen time move quickly. Too quickly sometimes. And with every passing year, you become more aware that time is no longer a guarantee. It's a gift. So when someone invites you out for coffee or dinner, you pause. You wonder, is this how I want to spend this hour of my life? It's not that you dislike people. It's just that meaningless conversation starts to feel like wasted treasure. You want deeper things now, peaceful moments, quiet mornings, real connection. You've seen enough to know. Not everything deserves your time. 2. The masks become too heavy. For most of your life, you wore many faces. You were the dependable parent, the polite guest, the peacemaker, the friend who always smiled even when your heart ached. But over time, those masks get heavier. At 70, something inside you whispers, take it off. Be yourself. You no longer want to pretend you're okay when you're not. You no longer feel like chatting about the weather or laughing at a joke you've heard 100 times. You don't want to explain your opinions or defend your silence. You just want to be real. And you've earned that. After all these years, you've earned the right to show up unfiltered, to speak your truth, or to say nothing at all. If that means staying home instead of attending a noisy gathering where you feel invisible, that's okay, because now, peace feels better than pretending. 3. Death becomes familiar. By 70, you've likely lost people, a friend, a sibling, a partner, maybe even a child. Grief changes everything. At first, it's a storm. Then it becomes a shadow, always with you. And as the years pass, you start to feel death not as a fear, but as a quiet presence beside you. You realize that every visit, every conversation, could be the last. And so, you choose. Carefully. You want moments that matter. You want laughter that feels real, and conversations that feed your soul. Not obligation, not routine. You're not avoiding life. You're living it more honestly, with the awareness that every breath is precious. 4. Loss changes the way you see the world. Every loss leaves an echo. When you walk into a room where an old friend once sat, when you hear a song that reminds you of your spouse, when you smell something that takes you back 40 years, it stirs something deep. And sometimes, visits with others only make the absence louder. That's not something younger people always understand. They see you step back and think you're giving up. But you're not. You're protecting yourself from the sharpness of memory. You're choosing spaces where your heart feels safe. You don't want to explain why you teared up at a dinner table or why you suddenly needed to leave a gathering. You want to be around people who understand without words. And if those people are gone, sometimes the best company is your own. 5. Solitude becomes a friend. Solitude is not loneliness. Loneliness feels empty and cold, but solitude is warm, gentle. It's a choice. After 70, you've spent decades giving to others. Your children, your career, your relationships. You've carried burdens, solved problems, and poured yourself out. Now finally, you have space to breathe. And in that stillness you rediscover yourself. You find peace in small things. A hot cup of tea, birds outside your window, a walk with no destination. You no longer need to be everywhere or please everyone. You've come to see that joy can live in quiet corners, not just crowded rooms. Some days you may still visit. You may laugh and share stories, but on others you may simply choose your own company. And that's not sad. That's beautiful. 6. Energy becomes a limited resource. In your younger years, you could run from one visit to the next, cook meals, clean the house, smile through hours of conversation, and still have energy left to spare. But after 70, your energy becomes something you budget carefully. Just like money, you can't spend it carelessly anymore. Even getting dressed and going out can feel like a big task. The idea of sitting in a noisy room, straining to hear, trying to follow conversations or explain yourself over and over, it can feel draining before you've even left the house. It's not about becoming lazy or antisocial. It's about recognizing that your body and spirit need rest. You've carried so much over the years. You've worked hard, helped others, stayed strong through storms. Now, you're more aware of what costs too much. Sometimes it's simply easier and kinder to yourself to say, "Not today." You're not rejecting people. You're respecting your energy. And that's wisdom. 7. Conversations don't feel the same anymore. You ever sit in a room full of people and feel completely alone? That happens more often after 70. You might be surrounded by chatter, laughter, and updates about someone's vacation or new gadget, but your mind is somewhere else. You're thinking about life, about deeper things. You want to talk about purpose, peace, regrets, faith, memories, not just sports scores or neighborhood gossip. But finding people who are willing to go there with you becomes harder. Sometimes you speak, and others don't understand. They interrupt, change the topic, or just don't listen. And it makes you wonder, why am I here? That's when visiting starts to feel like a chore, not a joy. At this age, you long for meaningful connection, not just noise. And when it's missing, silence feels better. 8. You start listening to your soul. There comes a time in life when your inner voice gets louder. You no longer ignore the feeling in your gut, the quiet whisper that says, "Stay home today, take a walk, rest, read, be still." It's your soul speaking. In your younger years, you often silenced that voice. You went out even when you were tired. You said yes even when you wanted to say no. You followed the crowd because you didn't want to seem rude or distant. But now, you've learned that your soul knows what you need. You understand that being in tune with yourself is not selfish. It's sacred. So when you stop visiting, it's not because you don't care. It's because you're finally listening to what your spirit has been trying to say all along. You choose peace, not performance. You choose truth over tradition. And that's a beautiful, brave thing. 9. You've outgrown certain relationships. This one can be hard to admit, but it's true. After 70, you realize some people just don't fit your life anymore. Some friends only want to talk about the past. Some only complain or gossip. Some expect you to be the same person you were 30 years ago, but you're not. You've grown. You've evolved. You crave conversations that lift you up, not pull you back. So, you gently step away. You stop calling. You stop visiting, not out of bitterness, but because you're making space for something better, for the people who truly see you, for the ones who meet you in the present, not just the past. 10. You learn to be okay with being alone. One of the most surprising gifts after 70 is this. You stop being afraid of being alone. In fact, you start to enjoy it. Alone doesn't mean lonely anymore. It means freedom. Freedom to do what you love, to rest when you need, to think your own thoughts, to laugh at old memories, to cry if you need to, without apology. Being alone becomes a kind of healing. You realize that you don't need constant company to feel fulfilled. You don't need to be busy to feel important. You don't need to visit people just to feel loved, because you are enough. Your presence, your quiet, wise, beautiful presence, is enough. And when you do choose to visit others now, it comes from a full heart, not an empty need. That's the power of age. That's the peace of finally knowing who you are. Closing reflection. So if you're over 70 and finding yourself visiting people less often, don't feel guilty. You're not doing anything wrong. You're simply entering a new season, a season of intention, truth, and inner peace. And if you're someone younger, watching this, try not to take it personally when an older loved one doesn't always come around. It's not about you. It's about them finding peace after a lifetime of giving. Let them rest. Let them be. And most importantly, let them be themselves. If this video resonated with you, please comment the number 4 to let me know you're still here. And if you'd like more heartfelt videos like this, please subscribe and turn on the bell. I'd love to keep walking this journey with you. Until next time, remember, you are not fading. You're becoming more radiant in your quietness. Final message. If you've made it this far, I want you to know something important. You are not withdrawing. You are evolving. You are not cold. You are wise. You are not avoiding people. You are choosing purpose, peace, and presence. After 70, life doesn't shrink, it deepens, and sometimes the deepest moments are the quiet ones. If this message spoke to your heart, please leave a comment with the number 3 so I know you're still here, listening and reflecting. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and turn on notifications. We're building a space for older adults to feel heard, seen, and supported, and you belong here. Until next time, remember, you are enough just as you are. No mask, no performance, just you.